You know what, Ali? You might be interested in this. This perenni book that I'm reading, which is the greatest. It's like that book was written specifically for me. It's about ancient Rome, and it's nothing but red pills. But there was something called tribunes back then. Pretty much, if you imagine, this isn't exactly accurate because it's not the same system, but they kind of had two presidents, and then they had two presidents that represented poor people. So they were kind of just school captains, I suppose. They didn't really have any power. But what happened in that system was that there was that elite oligarchic class, I suppose the Wall Street of the day, which would have been landowners. And they used to pretty much patron who were going to be the tribunes. Now, isn't this interesting? Every now and then, one of the tribunes who was supposed to represent the plebs would be a Bernie Sanders figure and actually be talking about issues that the plebs liked, and they got in and usually they were assassinated. But most of the time, the tribunes that were running for office, it sounded exactly like the Democratic primaries. It was just a line of dudes sitting around saying, I have leadership skills, and I have attained this office in the past. I know what it takes to be in charge. It was nothing about policy. It was all about their character. And I never noticed that before, but then I started thinking back to it, and I was like, damn, Bernie Sanders was one of the Gracchi brothers. He was actually sitting there just being like, the tomato tax is too low. We need to start putting up taxes on foreign fruits such as potatoes and possibly yams.
Foreign fruits coming from Idaho.
Potato capital.
Yeah, potato capital.
That's fucking funny, dude.
So are you saying that was fucked, or did you like that?
It's just, I'm going to be doing a stand-up show on it. It's just going to be called A Game as Old as Rome, and it's pretty much just going to be about how much of a farce democracy is. And it's the same ideals, just getting repeated over and over. What do the ruling elite constantly care about? Freedom, liberty, other flowery concepts that make you think about how sick statues and flags are.
Yes. Eagles.
But there was no substance. In fact, Julius Caesar, isn't this incredible? Everyone was saying he's such a great orator, and he was. He had flair, but there was a new style of oratory that started around the time that he entered public life. You know what that oratory was? Stating facts. It was just him saying, okay, the Treasury allotted 2 million denarii for infrastructure last year, and only 100,000 denarii was spent on infrastructure. Where did the other 1.9 million denarii go? And all throughout Rome's history, they had such a clench hold on power that everyone was just speaking about, again, poetic, bullshitty concepts of like, is tyranny bad? What about liberty? And that's the thing that drives me crazy about politics today. It's the same thing. It's just these annoying little terms that they constantly debate over. That's political discussion.
The spectrum is very limited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And so it's just amazing that it's just this constant... What?
I said I denari about that, but I am excited for the show.
Don't know what you're trying to replace with denarii? It's a bit too vague.
He does not know.
This guy, all right?
Don't.
He understands Cicero debate.
No, go on.
That's cool, though.
But you know what else was really sad? Sorry, just as a little teaser. I think we're even going to finish the stand-up show on this. It's just so moving. But there was 100 years before some tribune every now and then coming up and saying we really need to reform land or something like that, and getting huge popular support. And then usually what would happen is the senators that ran the show would get some of their trained gladiators to come to their house and kill them. That's usually what happened.
Damn.
So there was the Gracchi brothers. They were some of the first reformers, and they met that fate. And so did Julius Caesar, but that was obviously in the Senate. And think about this picture, Ali. You know that classic ancient artwork of Julius Caesar getting stabbed?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
When you think about that painting, what do you think about it?
Why are all the penises so small?
There's no penises there, dude.
Sorry.
You're looking through the robe.
No.
You're obsessed.
I'm just thinking a leader, a worthy leader being killed by horrible, evil men is what I think.
Do you?
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah.
Because both Miss and I, we were just thinking about that painting and we were just being like, finally, a tyrant is brought to justice.
Yeah, a tyrant being
that's-
killed. Look at his
But that's
smug
what I used to
face.
always think before I read this book.
Me too.
That's
all we're
yeah,
taught.
obviously, look, Ali is a lot more woke on these.
Oh, but I
matters.
don't even
You
know
knew
much.
that.
Like, you know about this era way more than I do. This is just like
This is the thing. I know about that era, but I know about it from the ruling class's perspective because that's all that's written down. It's always just friends of the senators that were the historians. And so everything that you read about Caesar is he was evil, he was a tyrant. What was he trying to do? He was trying to make sure that apartments didn't collapse in on themselves and that they were subsidised for collapsing in on themselves. So there was actually an incentive to make sure the buildings collapsed. You know, it wasn't insane things that he was proposing.
What a tyrant. True.
I know.
But you know what I did? You mentioned on one of the
Mental.
previous pods about you thinking of doing a stand-up on this topic. And I can tell you there was a lot of overwhelmingly positive opinions on that. People were excited, including my girlfriend was like, I really, really want to go to that show because she was listening to
So do I. I want to see
do
my
I.
own show.
So do I.
Sorry to sound a bit narcissistic, but to quote Kanye West, my only regret in life is that I can't watch me performing that show. I really want to see it. And it's not even the next one coming out. Sorry, guys. 2023, stay posted.
Isn't that amazing? He's 3 shows ahead.
That's,
You're
it is
making us
pretty
look
cool.
bad, dude.
Well, I don't
Hey,
think it takes
shit.
much.
Huh?
But yeah, look, I just want to just get this because it's just so moving. But when Julius Caesar was stabbed, just to show you, even this is the other thing, they're so in their own bubble that they don't understand that what they're writing shows that they're cunts. So they were saying that after they died, the triumphant senators walked out and did their big speech about why they had to kill the tyrant. And isn't this insane that even back then you could kill a senator and no one could touch you because
That's
they'd be
crazy.
saying it to a crowd and there'd just be 3,000 gladiators standing around menacingly with swords.
Really?
So they'd say that to him. The next day, one of his generals came up and did a fiery speech and got all of the plebs to go fucking ape shit. They went in. They took... How symbolic is this? They were really moving people back then. They went out. They ripped all of the chairs out of the Senate, the doors. They went to the courts because the courts were just rife with corruption. And they took all of the wooden podiums from that. They made a huge bonfire and they burnt Caesar's corpse there. That was named Holy Land. Caesar, when he died, gave every head of a family 75 denarii and made his estates public parks for everyone. So even in death, he was looking out for them. And isn't this so sad? In the fire, all these women were throwing in their bracelets. They were poor. They were unbelievably poor people, throwing in their bracelets, and their soldiers were taking off all their medallions and throwing it into the fire. And the same thing happened when the Gracchi brothers died. Their land was named as sacred. The peasants, who had no money at all, got all of the little fucking scraps that they had together as a city to build a couple of statues of the brothers. And every year, right up until the fall of the empire, the plebs would go and give them the first fruits of the season and put that at the statue.
Honourable
Isn't that
people.
moving? And then when it came to all of the big figures that you hear about in the late stage republic that were the heroes, your Catos, your Pompeys, your Ciceros, they had to build their own statues with their own will estates. No one ever gave them any fruits. They were constantly vandalized. And then they would always just write that down in history of just being like, they don't have respect for great men. But they did have respect for great men. They had respect for Caesar and the Gracchi brothers.
Fuck.
It's crazy. Do you remember when we went to, this sort of reminds me of that, when we were in Pakistan, we went to that mosque in Islamabad, that weird spaceship looking one. And then right next to that mosque was a mausoleum of a dictator, General Zia-ul Haq, who was like
Who's
the
the
ruler.
scariest man I've ever seen in my
Scariest man.
life.
And you know what the funny thing is? Like, he was such a feared, just the ultimate kind of power that you can think of. He was, usually in Pakistan, we've always had benevolent dictators. Even our dictators were like, don't be mean. Okay, fine. Like they weren't like, insane dictators. They were really dependent on public opinion, but not this guy. He was the only one who was like a bit of a hard cunt. He even
clearly everyone should look at a picture of that man.
General Zia-ul Haq. He even assassinated like one of the most. He hung like one of the most popular leaders. Anyways, he was a different breed and he was a bit insane. But the funny thing was, like, you go to that mosque and right next to his mosque, right next to the big mosque, where like thousands of people come, right, to not just pray but to visit, because it's like a cool looking mosque. From up close, not that cool. Just saying. But anyways, from a distance it is. But so there's the mausoleum. No one visits that mausoleum ever. And like in the same city, you've got like the Sufi shrine who no one gave a fuck about when the guy was alive, but you get like thousands and thousands of visitors coming to him every day. It just sort of shows you that no matter how powerful you are when you're living, what you'll be remembered by is not in your control. And I guess the only way you can control is just be a nice person.
That's it. It's actions.
People will give a lot more shit. These guys, like that guy, he probably thought he was God when he was alive. And like no one gives a fuck about him. Like I was telling Jordan that even if I go and piss on that grave of his, I don't think anyone would give a shit.
Is there soldiers guarding it?
No one. You remember, it looked like, you were like, what the fuck is that? And I was like, yeah, that's one of the most powerful men that this country has ever seen. That's his grave. No one is even going there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a bit like that.
I don't know, for some reason that just really puts things into perspective, doesn't it? After you're dead, what happens to you? It actually just really gives
all the money.
I don't know. I don't know why that was so. I don't know why that concept's so powerful.
It is.
But anyway, that's all I've got to say on it. It's just like when I read that, there was actually tears in my eyes.
Dang.
It just showed.
Well, it is pretty cool. It is really cool.
Yeah, it is.
Like
it's
fruit,
cool.
Giving
but
it
the
that.
first fruits of the season.
That's rad.
How respectful is that?
It's rad. And
Actually, let's be honest. The first fruits of the season are the worst ones.
Are they?
Like,
look, it's symbolic again. That seems to be the message of today's pod. Symbolism
the
matters.
fruit gets better towards the end of the season.
I'm just thinking, like, if Caesar was never killed, would the Roman Empire still have fallen? Is that too big a stretch?
Would he be in power today?
Damn.
Super Caesar. I mean, wrong guy. Whatever his name
Caesar
is.
salad.
Super Caesar salad. That'd be the only difference today.
Oh, yeah. There's
You
no
can get
such,
that at sumo salad.
there's no such thing as a Caesar salad.
No,
It's
there's
only
just a bigger one.
Right, I gotcha.
You had to get the big salad. Yeah, but... yeah, look.
But do you
what
is
he was
is
saying...
that a bit of a stretch, is it?
Well, it was interesting because they always try and blame Caesar for the fall of the Republic, but he was always saying, I don't care if I'm killed, which is why he walked into the Senate despite numerous assassination rumors. But there was always assassination rumors about him. But he was always of the opinion that if I die, it's not so much my life that I care about because I've just done so many great things, so who cares? It's that if I do, it will eventually cause a civil war. It might not be my death that causes the trigger, but you can't squeeze the population that much for that long. He was trying, really, this is something else that you learn from this historical piece as well. He was trying to he was trying to save the oligarchy from themselves. Really what he was saying is, it's the same message that the Labor Party is always putting through. Look, you can still be in charge, you just don't have to be such an idiot about it. You don't understand this. You've just been living in a plush, aristocratic, let's be honest, kind of fancy luxury dole bludger life for 10 generations. You're just so stupid from being overfed and sitting around eating like pigs that when you open them up, pigeons fly out. You don't actually think about things properly. Right? And it was just pretty much like, look, you can make more money and not screw over the population as much. Like, this is a good idea for everyone. Let's divert the River Tiber because it floods the city every year. But they just, even to those kind of things, they'd be like, no, absolutely not. We can't afford it from Treasury because I wanted to siphon out 1 billion sesterces this year. So they wouldn't do that kind of stuff. It was, what you learn is that there are actually very few men in history that are power hungry. Caesar is one of those people that was power hungry, but why was he power hungry? Because he wanted the power to do things. But most people, when they want power, they just want power because it secures their extra comfy pillow.
There's different kinds of power. There's different what you use it for and what you direct that energy into.
Yes, and the oligarchy of every society wants the power so that they can just maintain their plush lifestyle. That's all they care about. It's just, is my lawn nice?
My vote's for Caesar now.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Same.
And he is a very comparable man to Bill Clinton.
They both played sax.
Because Bill Clinton
one played the
basically
lute.
Bill Clinton already said what you just came across. Like, you can fool some people some of the time.
That wasn't Bill Clinton.
Wasn't it Bill Clinton?
That was Lincoln, dude.
Oh, shit. Well, I guess
the second greatest president of our time.
Bill Clinton, Julius Caesar, maybe Abraham Lincoln. We're not going to put him on the same category.
And Hillary Clinton, the best president we never had.